ora koutou I te whānau, ni bula, kia orana. Hi, my name is Whaea Bec and it's great to see you here again. If you were with us last time, we were looking at mapping and voyaging, or going on a trip by creating our maps and looking at other ways artists made maps. If anyone in your whānau had a history where they had made maps for a certain reason, or were involved in some great voyage where they had to read a map, maybe have a kōrero with them about that today. If you're new here today, welcome, it's really great to see you, and each day we've been recording an idea about who we are, who am I, ko whānau, and collecting that all together to create a time capsule so that in the future, when we've finished in our bubbles, we can look back and just remember this time and who we were and where we lived. And so our artworks have been about those things each day. So today I thought we could continue on with the idea of being outside like we have been for the last couple of sessions, but this time I was thinking about the idea of looking up. So what's up at your house? I know where I live there's a lot of open sky because I live semi-rurally. Thinking about the sky and remembering last time we mentioned Kupe, Tupaia and Captain Cook, and it got me to thinking, I wonder if they used the stars to navigate their travels. I'm pretty sure they did. So whether what you see when you look up, you might see, if you're in the city, you might see a gap through some skyscrapers. You might, and also might depend where you are, you might be sitting under a tree and you might just see lots of branches or maybe even a bird. And also if you see just sky, it could have power lines running through it, and depending on the weather, the clouds will be really different. They're pretty much different anyway, every day anyway, aren't they? So today we'll look at our keywords. So today's keywords are ahutoru, three-dimensional. That will come in handy when we do our drawing today. And of course drawing. He tā. We will be drawing today, as we do most days. You can draw with a lot of different materials. It doesn't have to be pencil and paper. And I'll show you a few of those things as we go through today. And also today we are remembering waiwai kia kapua. Be adventurous with our ideas and our art making today. So let's get started. When I was thinking about looking up, I was trying to think about all the different things that you might see when you're looking up. So I've made a few drawings. Here are some skyscrapers if you're in the city. Can you imagine that with colour? It would be nice to see some blue sky coming through, and I could also continue to add some buildings. And thinking about our word three-dimensional, you can see that the way the buildings have been drawn help them look three-dimensional in the drawing, even though it's that warped view. Our next drawing today, like I mentioned before, if you're sitting under a tree, you might see a whole lot of branches and the big tree trunk. So that could be another idea for you to draw today. Here's one just with power lines. I've just drawn these with pencil on my pad paper today, but we are going to look at some other materials that we're going to use. Right, before we carry on, I just want to show you a few artists to help stimulate some more ideas for you today as well. So the first artist that I found, John Bevan Ford, New Zealand artist, and this is called Albatross World. Now if you live in Dunedin, you will be very familiar with the albatross because you have a colony living down there. Beautiful birds. I grew up in Dunedin. You can see that his birds are patterned, and there are other things up in the sky. Lovely work. So you might see birds when you look up today. I'll put that over here. Also, Graham Sydney, he is from Central Otago, and I saw this painting that he done. He's very realistic in how he approaches his artwork, and he's done a very large plain skyscape. That might be a view that you see. And this last one, I thought, what a cool picture. It's reflecting the sky in someone's eye. So combining those ideas together, and this is by an artist called Magritte. Also, you might notice some of the pictures behind me. Here's one of space. You might be remembering things that you've learned about Matariki at school, the star cluster, and you might want to do a night scene where you can see stars. Alright, so today I'm going to show you, I went outside and I took some photos the other day looking up in preparation for today. And so this is the kind of view that I see at my house. Lovely big skyscapes. There's my power pole, my power lines. That's when the sun was going down, and there's a shed and a lovely blue sunset sky. And I took this the other night as well, a lovely sunset disappearing. So that was in our section looking up to the fence line, and I could see that sky and the power lines running through. So today I thought we could add a little bit of colour to our artwork using some alternative materials, because not everyone has paint at home. I thought I would use that picture as my base composition, and I've marked out the horizon line where the sky meets the land across my page. And to add colour, today I have made some dies just using scraps from our house, and it's quite surprising what you can make with things like onion peels. So these are some onion peels that were sitting in the bottom of the bag of onions that we had in our cupboard, and I gathered them all up because it's not a part that we use for our cooking. And you boil those, and the dye turns out this perfect orangey colour, which will really go nicely in my sky sunset from my photograph. Another thing that you can use, we had some spinach that we had prepared and didn't use. It was scraps from the kitchen. You wouldn't boil spinach, you could also use grass. And with these scraps I ground them up in a blender. If you don't have a blender, you might want to use a mortar and pestle and grind those up, adding a bit of water so that it creates a dye. So that will be good for the grass part. You can see that there's purpley blues in my picture. If I had a red cabbage, I could use the scraps from that, but I didn't have a red cabbage because that would make a purpley blue colour. But I do have some makeup that I no longer use, so I'll have a go with that. So looking at my picture, I have it beside me as a reference, and I think I'll start by putting in those purpley blue clouds just with my finger. It's quite faint, so hopefully the camera will pick this up, but I think if I keep adding layers and build that up, then I should be able to see it a little bit better as I go. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at the main shapes that these clouds are and trying to recreate that on my page. I'll just show you quickly. Then, oops, turn around the other way. With my orange onion peel dye, I can add in a light layer to start off with, because I can always go over it and build up that colour to make it darker if I want it a more vibrant orangey colour, which I will do. So to be able to build that colour up, you will need to let it dry so that you can add in another layer. Now, I haven't tried out my green, but you can see that I've got dark green here down in the front. Oh yeah, that works quite nicely. It's one thing with this, if you've got some cheesecloth or like a gauze to run that through if it's a little bit gritty. I blended mine, so it's actually relatively fine. So I'm just going to put down the base colour, and then I think later on, once that dries, I'll go in and I'll build up the textures and put in some more detail with that later on. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of some alternative things that you can use to add colour to your artworks. I'm going to wait for this to dry. I'll keep drawing into it with my pencil and keep building up my colours so that it's more vibrant as we go on. So, oh, another thing that you could use if you don't have what I have, I made some little Lego clouds. You could make a little Lego cloud picture just on your lounge floor or on the kitchen table. That could be another thing that you could do. Try and be creative with what you with how you're going to present your idea of looking up. You could actually use sticks and create a scene that way outside, or even draw it. One segment I had a tray of sand that was wet and we drew into it with a stick. That could be another thing that you could do. So no matter what you might use to create your looking up artwork today, I would love to see a photo of it. So make sure you ask if you're allowed to send in an artwork. You can text it to 5811 or send a picture in an email to info@hltv.co.nz and put the words Daily Diary in the title to make sure that it gets to me. I would love to see your work. So I think that's all we've got time for today. It's been lovely sharing some ideas with you, and I hope that you can modify them if you can't quite do it the same way, and have a go at finding some alternative materials to colour your work. So we'll see you next time. Ka kite, mā nui.